We will get started. Just make sure Dexter has time to get us going.
Yes, we're good.
Okay. So before we get started with the meeting agenda, I just want to make note that Director Nicole Jones and Director Odie Donald are participating remotely due to personal matters related to City of Richmond business, another meeting associated with City of Richmond business. So Mr. Donald's online. Ms. Jones may be joining us later. First on our agenda is a certification of a quorum. And I think we're okay. Yep. Are there any amendments to the agenda? None. Are there any public comments? None. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or any revisions to the minutes?
Oh, to approve.
Mhm.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. And now we're at action items. First has to do with the construction phase engineering services for the paving remediation project. Laura, is this you?
Yes.
Sorry, pulling it up.
We went through those first items really fast.
Yes.
And now to the pertinent information. So the first action item is directly related to our engineering, our CEI assistance for this project. When we initially scoped it, it was pretty, I'm sorry, no, this is the two.
Mhm.
Paving 301.
I thought we were doing A&E first. Okay, this is related to change orders for the actual paving work that's going on right now, right outside our window. Over the course of the project, we have had one change order request that came about as a result of a recommendation from our engineer to include what's called Fortifiber, which is a type of fiber that adds strength to the asphalt mixture. That change order will increase the project by $52,271.22. Since we were doing change orders and I was going to combine the two, we also have a change order for changes to striping in the amount of $9,897. We're doing thermoplastic striping, which is much more durable than painting. And we have had a few changes in the bus yard to make it easier and more efficient to park our buses back there. The last change order is one that involves our current paratransit lot, 4800 Old Midlothian Turnpike. When we originally did the drawings and received the bid, the paving for that section was pretty much the way it appears now, with big islands and the vehicles parked north to south. And we determined that eliminating the islands and having the vehicles parked east to west would allow us to park more vehicles back there and to park them more efficiently. We've gotten the independent cost estimate. I developed an independent cost estimate, and our engineer agreed that it would be in the range of about $70,000. At the time that I wrote this, I was waiting for the change order request from the contractor, and it's come in at about $69,000. And so we were going to go ahead and get pre-approval for that. And then also, finally, the original bid for this project came in at just over $4 million, a little less than $4.1 million. We have a total of about $4.4 million in grant funds for the various grant funds for this project. And we wanted to go ahead and request authorization that should there be additional changes in the future, that we could go ahead and address those change orders up to the full amount of the grants that we have in hand so that we don't have to come back to the board for future change orders if they should arise.
Say that last part again. The goal is to enable us to use up to the full amount of the grant that we're under currently without having to come back to tell us what the change orders might be.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
That's consistent with what we do with our projects in Henrico. We'll get authorization to basically go up to our budget,
Mhm.
not necessarily tied to a percentage. Gives you more flexibility if something comes up.
So in this
Can we do
item,
this in Richmond
it
as
says the
well?
cost
I'd
for
be
additional
more than
design
willing
and
to approve.
construction is about 73,000.
That is a separate, that's a separate board action item. This,
I'm on the wrong one.
yeah, the one that's, I was,
This one.
yes.
Got it. Everything makes more sense now.
Sorry for the
It's
confusion.
all right.
Are you, I think it makes sense too with the fiber. Yeah, I think that'll give you a longer life. Sounds like the same thing with the thermoplastic. So that's also consistent with what we're doing in our new paving projects. We're putting fiber, increasing the amount of fiber in some of the heavier bus areas. Yeah, so I think that's something we're also looking at. I think I talked to you about that. At some of our bus stop locations, we repave going with like a double dosage of fiber, and it kind of gives you almost the same strength as like a concrete pad.
I was just curious as to why that wasn't it. Nothing happened other than a recommendation from the consultant to add this to it. Is there any understanding as to why it wasn't in there in the first?
I'm sorry, I did not ask that question.
It's new. Oh.
The double strand of fiber, yeah, versus, because typically you would do concrete. That was like the only other option. So this is like a new,
I don't know if that new, but that's cool. I mean, it just,
the increased dosage of fiber.
yeah, okay. No, anything that we don't build our roads to last long enough anyway. This is good.
We have been assured that using the process that we're using, the full depth reclamation, that it will significantly improve the overall lifespan of the newly paved surfaces, but the Fortifiber will increase that even more.
Okay. So I think the action that's before this committee is, do we support the recommendation being made for the full board to execute the change orders and to authorize additional change orders within the project budget?
One question is, this is the private guy in me, is we will still be made informed as to what the change orders may need to be, correct? What I hesitate on is just not knowing the details of that. It's like these change orders are going right up to the amount without us understanding what the change orders are, or what's causing them. Do we still get informed as to what they are?
Yes, we will definitely make sure
When-
that happens if there are any additional.
When would those happen? Would those just sort of happen as part of the regular board meetings?
I think we keep them on the project updates, number 8 on here. You can just make sure as the projects continue that you get updates on anything.
That would be appreciated.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You eyed, right? Since you seconded.
I said it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so now I think the next item is changes to scope of facility paving project.
Actually, that was the one that we just discussed. Yeah, yeah, sorry about that.
So now the next one is construction phase engineering services for paving remediation projects.
That's right. And this one, of course, is directly related to the current paving project. When we originally scoped the engineering and construction phase services by the engineer, we underestimated the effort that we were going to need. And They have been much more involved on site. They've been much more involved in meetings with the contractor, and this is basically to increase their involvement in the project overall.
And they being Wendell.
Yes, yes, sorry. Wendell is the prime consultant, and Kinley Horn is their sub-consultant.
So they're basically on site, making sure, checking, make sure the pavement's being paved accordingly.
Yes, yes.
So the original fee was 161 and the change order is for 73.
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
Okay, same sort of action on this one. Recommending support to the board to execute the change order. And you're asking for authorization again on this one as well to issue.
Is this different?
future-
Is this different grant money?
Just 300,000.
Different grant funding? Is this different grant
It
funding?
is, yes.
Only difference with this one is there's a match, right? Who's doing how's the match?
Local 32, state 68.
Yeah, where's the local kind of, is that?
It would be from our already planned, either the portion we take that goes from the local and CPTA together.
That'd be the difference.
That doesn't have better?
That'd be the only difference with this one, going up to the 300 is, there is a little, it would authorize more local.
Same with the last one though.
Yeah,
The
that one
last-
had to.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
It said that too, sorry. yeah,
Mhm.
so-
It did.
Okay. Okay, well, they both should be, they should be federal, state and local, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, because these are new grants.
I based the state and local share on the,
Spreadsheet email me.
not the spreadsheet, but the web grants, the
Oh.
contracts.
Oh,
So,
okay. Sorry, it is federal, state and local, so there's a federal amount, so the local amount would only be 4%. We will update that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
These are new grants, they shouldn't be missing any portions.
My apologies.
But still, the same thing would be what you guys approved, because these are the grants that went to the board already.
Righty?
Motion.
I'll move to approve.
Yeah, seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next is enterprise software licensing renewal.
We have a yearly license renewal with Microsoft for our productivity suite. Word, PowerPoint, Excel, SharePoint is built through that. And very unique, we provide licenses and email accounts for all of our operators, mechanics, and everybody. But you see, just allow to better communication so they can actually communicate and things are going on. So this is all a part of that. So we're just asking for to renew the license and do a PO to our vendor.
Did the prices stay about the same? It's not all on the same.
It goes up a little bit
Every year, like a couple percent.
Okay, so the recommendation to the full board is on the back of that item. Authorizes to issue a purchase order for 118,890 to procure Microsoft license renewal and set up licenses within GRTC infrastructure. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Got this down.
All right, next on the agenda is update on FY 28, FY 32, something.
Yes.
Something, I don't know what it is.
It's
Sure.
gonna be a continued, brief update for now. We have been working over the last week to just continue to get the numbers refined, for the 5-year with Scudder. He is working on a PowerPoint presentation and also will be at the retreat, which will be in September. We will get those to you in advance, but that'll be part of that conversation, for the 5-year. Right now, our team is working with Jarrett Walker Group as well to develop the outreach. They're developing all of the material and the strategy, and then we actually internally will get that set up for, we're going to be doing surveys as well as in-person meetings to be able to get that. And the plan is to start that end of August, beginning of September, and roll that actually through October. So it'll be full outreach efforts, and that'll include those 3 different designs that we've mentioned, concept designs that we mentioned as far as kind of investment perspectives for the region. To kind of restate those, there was 2 that were considered basically baseline funding scenario where have tweaks to the service we have today, but everyone was at the table for the various jurisdictions to be able to develop those. And then there was the 3rd version, which is kind of that growth scenario where it's basically all, I think 8 of the 9 jurisdictions gave input, and we have a growth scenario for expansion. And so we'll discuss those again with the board, but those will go out as part of the outreach to get feedback on how the region thinks transit should be invested. And I spoke with Chet actually earlier this week and have asked him also to kind of attend, because all of this very heavily ties into, I'm not sure if you guys remember, I know Barb was deeply in it, but the CVTA governance study back when that was done, kind of revisited that. And we have done steps 1 through 3, which is like Henrico being the first one that came on as a recommendation. The second being understand the needs from all of the region and find out the demand, and had all these metrics associated, which is why we did the microtransit pilots. We all know that those will lose grant funds, as well as we only said they'd be alive for 3 years as far as the current, I guess, grant funded support for them. So we have, I just want to throw out there, all of the things that were originally identified as concerns from the jurisdictions in that governance study are continued conversations that we have had with the jurisdiction. So want to probably have Chet bring those back up as we are having this, because I feel like it is helpful, because the 3rd step, I believe, from the governance study was to basically use the regional public transportation plan to understand what are those regional needs. And so then to revisit the governance study and determine framework, which is what we're working on, that's being worked on, but then how do we prioritize even if a framework is developed? So all those things to come kind of as part of the retreat, because realize it was bigger than just bringing the framework. Like that framework, as we have said, ties into basically the regional model that we know a lot of the jurisdictions have said that they are investing in our system, but what is it that they're getting? Well, a lot of them are getting microtransit, but we know that that won't always be the same model that we have today. So a lot of board discussion that will be facilitated kind of around that sort of effort. And I guess we would kind of end up prioritizing from the regional model. I'm assuming the growth scenario, that is just a lot. What we would prioritize, and then I guess have conversations that would continue as far as recommendations that are tied into that study.
When's the retreat again?
Is next board meet, not Tuesday, but the September. We just extended it an extra hour and a half to 11, I think it was.
Until then, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing big public outreach end of August through October. Okay, and Chet's going to be included in the retreat.
You mentioned earlier, so what about when is this going to be provided? You said before the retreat, I guess.
The 5 year that you've been, yes.
It'll be before the retreat.
It will be.
Okay.
Went out to the public in August, which is before the retreat. Shouldn't you wait until the board meeting before you go do outreach?
So I think we're doing it on the way we're talking about it is to do it on all 3 concepts, not just one selected alternative, to get feedback on all 3 of them.
But we haven't seen those yet, and we won't see
Very
that.
accurate. Yeah, we can hold off. I think that
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So outreach and following the retreat.
Yeah, I think the concept that had come from the consultants was that you would be able to have the preliminary public as an input to whatever their thoughts were, versus it could also work the opposite, where your feedback comes first and therefore whatever plan gets put out is based on your kind of direction. They stipulated were like, well, maybe you do it before and after to be able to get the various inputs. I like the suggestion that you made as far as getting what you guys feedback first. So, obviously you should be able to see it as well. But that was the intent behind it. Which is September's not that far.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay. But the 5 years, what you were referencing as far as that.
Yeah.
So just to be honest, hopefully it's done by the end of this week. We have the official numbers to Scudder as of this morning. So once he's able, because he was going to create a PowerPoint for today, but he got.
Okay.
okay. Any other questions on this? Next on the agenda is a legislative update and up on
The
the,
pounding stopped right in time, and I'm gonna be very quick. We do have a small update. The Senate last week, you guys heard me talk about continuing resolutions that they changed. They don't use those words anymore. Cheryl sent me to Washington DC last week, so I got acclimated to the new terms. They're not calling it continuing resolution, and calling it stopgap funding. So what we already talked about as far as them waiting or predicting for the elections, the Senate has already passed legislation that's allowing for the federal government to be funded through December 11th. That will get them until after the midterm elections. This House hasn't made any determination or approval of that stopgap funding. We think that as we get closer to the election in November, that will change. So you will be seeing on TV about the government shutting down and them pushing forth some effort to continue to keep the government funded. I think it's important to know the reauthorization, that's the long range. So as you guys talk about the 5-year plan, what's in it when it comes to the legislative side, when we think about surface reauthorization, that's how much money you get from the federal government over a 5-year window guaranteed. Mr. Anderson, you might ask me, okay, well, next year we need this one-off. You can go for funding, but that will be through the third bill. So our reauthorization kind of gives the framework and guidance of what you can look for over the next 5 years. One of which last time we did this under the Obama administration, there was a big push for not only Buy America, but electrification. There were all types of incentives for electrification that was done through surface reauthorization. Now that we're back, there are a lot of different things moving parts and moving pieces, one of which we think that the biggest divide is on the CIG. To use an example, we're going after capital improvement grant funding for our North-South BRT. In the House version, they've only put enough in $54 million that would not fund our projects in full, or even 2 of them in application form, if only $54 million was allotted to the CIG program for the nation. So that's not based on state. Of course, the Senate went back to try to push in the $1.7 billion for CIG. So we're going to be watching that heavily. We do think that bus priorities and bus formula is our #1 bread and butter, looking at 5339 and 5339B of bus avoidance, not bus avoidance, but state of good repair. There are also other bills that come up that some board members, some staff sent to Cheryl and or Adrian. The Bus Operator and Safety Act is something that we're working on or looking at. Typically, when you talk about reauthorization at the federal level, if you're interested in putting something in that's not funding related, you will come up with your own piece of legislation. So when the surface reauthorization will come up, you'll be able to bake it into that surface reauthorization. So for the Bus Operator and Safety Security Act, that's not going to be a bill that typically passes on alone. It's going to be put into the surface reauthorization, which is the omnibus bill. That bill is going to be just pushing up the safety of operators, making it mandatory for partitions, which we already do on our busing. There are other ones that I saw there. Rider Safety Act allows us to use federal TSA agent funding where we can pay our PSOs as long as they're not armed. So it will allow us another pot of money for safety and security. The Faster Buses and Better Futures Act, that's something that we've already undertaken when it comes to systems doing rehaul or redesign. So we did a slight reduction in our system. We're overhauling it now in the 5-year plan that will allow us to compete more for federal dollars. Freedom to Move Act I'm not sure how many of you guys paid attention to this. So this year we came out with the president saying that he should make all transit companies pay a fare. But the Freedom to Move Act was under the last Congress that was done by Presley that was allowing federal dollars to help localities and state transit or local transit agencies pay for zero fare. That is another piece of legislation that, even though it was introduced in the last Congress, can be carried over to them having discussions and negotiations on the surface reauthorization. The Resiliency and Transit Act allows us to help with if there any type of resiliency planning going on in the region. Barb and Chesterfield wants to do some flooding mitigation. It allows us to use or have plus ups and different fundings to make it as long as it's transit advantageous as well. So if the downtown Richmond is flooding and Mr. Donald says, hey, we want to do some flooding mitigation, we could have an opportunity to do that in tandem with new transit plan design. So those are all different pieces of legislation that stand on their alone in Congress that we're going to be monitoring as it gets to the service reauthorization to see if we can get those included.
Mr. Dillard.
At the state side, I guess I could work backwards. We do have a budget, guys. I'm pretty sure you saw that. The budget did not include additional monies that will help with operations, but we did have a $19 million plus up for capital assistance that can go for buses, et cetera. So we did take that as a win. The merit formula is the number one thing for us right now. I'm pretty sure you guys know that. I guess the main thing was riding in the merit formula. As long as your ridership was good and high, you will perform well. Now they're going to kind of weigh in more of not just your ridership, but the performance and efficiency that you're making within the system. So they have changed our weighting percentages that will be officially voted on at the CTB for September, but it looks like it's going to be smooth sailing. They have an additional performance weight with, yes. Mr. Donald, you had a question?
I did. So knowing that the legislation from the previous is uh-oh.
I hear him on my computer. Hold on, Mr. Donald. I'm going to mute my computer. Yeah, I'm muted, but we can't hear him through this speaker.
So okay. Even now?
He's unmuted. Let me see. Mr. Donald, can you speak again?
Yes. You can hear me now?
We can hear you. We'll just do it this way. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, so that means y'all didn't hear my votes. I hope you recorded them.
I thought you were being quiet, sir. Did you have any, I have you down for voting no on A, B, and C action items.
No, you don't have that.
No,
But-
sir.
Well, for this one though, my question was around knowing that the funding or the authorization was done through the previous Congress, but is able to be done so far. And it seems the federal administration has been all over the place, especially when it comes to authorizing transit. Do we expect that those funds and that authorization will remain intact moving forward? Or are we expecting that those dollars as well as the opportunity, for authorization to go away?
I think right now, crystal ball reading all things, I think outside of the CIG just being political or being gutted from 1 billion to 54 million, which is very contentious that I don't think will pass. I think if they continue with continuing resolutions, we won't be deviating from our predicted amounts from what we were funded in the past. However, Director Donald, when I first started out in transit, we had the FAST Act and that had 21 continuing resolutions. So they went on for 20 months with the FAST Act without having some type of surface reauthorization. In the visit last week, I believe that we're going to have a thumbs up to move forward. The problem is that we have to wait until the midterms, which are going to come in November. New Congress sits in January. So I believe, just me guessing alone, by this time next year, we will have a full reauthorization bill for transit. Does that answer?
No, yeah, that's helpful.
Okay. Going back. Okay. Going back to the state side, so we were talking about the merit. They're also going to have a performance weighting. So they're going to have a plus up where it's a bonus, whereas based on our revenue dollars, so they have a limit, and we'll probably talk about this throughout the 5-year plan. But let's just say DRPT comes up and says long as you're having, because we'll be considered mid or large urban size, as long as you're having 10 riders per hour and you're meeting these certain metrics, we will compete in another additional pot of funding that helps us out when it comes to competing, not just apples to apples, but it's going to kind of compare us to different agencies to kind of pick the best services out there, which I think we will compete well in just based on revenue miles and revenue hours.
Sounds like a whole nother grant from DRPT.
So it's going to be in the merit formula. So in the merit formula, let's say typically it will be 100% of all state transit dollars. Now it's going to be 95% funded or guaranteed on your operational, with the 5% bar being the additional performance weighting. So it won't be a different grant. It will be within the same system, but it'll be about 5% less across the board for people to compete in, which is about $4 to $7 million addition. It'd be a swing for us if we do well.
Stays 90 to 95% the same.
Correct.
This formula, the 35, 15, 15.
So the overall funding is going to be 90 to 95%. The formula is changing though. So where ridership might have been 35% or operating costs might have been 40%, those numbers are going to be changing, where revenue hours and revenue miles mean more for us now than they did.
Are those the four categories that are
Correct.
being recalibrated?
Correct. Yes, sir. And we can do another deeper dive after the CTV votes on this formally. We can have DRPT, I can do it, Adrian can do it. We can come explain how the formula is going to work over the next 3 years.
He said it used to be much more tilted towards, say, just ridership.
Ridership. That's how we were, for us in this room, when it came to zero fare. Adrian might have not said it, but John could have said the offset was, if you're talking about what we would collect in revenue, 3 additional million riders, that would definitely be lost in state funding because ridership weighs so heavily. So this time, instead of us, and I don't think we always all performed under one, you're going to have heavy urban, mid size, and then rural. And each pot, instead of everyone being the same, it's going to be different congestion mitigation. It could be different tallies for small or mid-sized urban. But I think we're going to perform well. At worst, in all those scenarios, we had a delta of $1 million. But in doing the other scenarios, we all have plus ups. If we maintain the same, the delta will be us decreasing service, which will impact anyone that decreases service. So it will be, what would you call it? Cost neutral for those, as long as you maintain your revenue hours and service.
The issue of the last one, it was based on against the state average, but heavily weighted on the ridership. And so because we increased, but no one else did, we jumped. But then against the state average is what still counts. But as people recovered from COVID, our numbers then started to incrementally change. So let's say we were 20% increase, and then it went to 1, 2, 3. And then now the other ones are shifting, even though they only have 600 riders. It looks like a 50% shift, and that average looks large, and we look like 1. So we ended up losing, even though our ridership as a whole was actually a lot better.
So you support these changes.
So yeah, so it's supposed to make it less, I guess, volatile versus the ridership concept. So if our revenue hours and miles and operating costs have weight as well, those don't tend to change.
Okay, and I think the last one that I had for you guys was the Clear Lines bill. That's also Clear Lanes. I said Clear Lines. Clear Lanes, that's the bill that we're talking about, or piece of legislation that we're going to be working through. And I know we have some internal papers circulating now to see if we are able to do any type of charging for bus infractions to help with zero fare costs or any type of additional cost that we need. But that is moving along, and we should have some things to share on that one soon. We talked about the.
It's the Nicole and Mr. Jones.
She's in.
Yeah, we did already.
Oh, you did already.
And I think that's what I have right now. We do have adopted state budget this upcoming session. We believe that the state is taking the position of further educating. So last year, you remember we came back and I said, hey, if this certain bill passes for data centers, we think we're going to get $15 million, et cetera. Well, MATA, Hampton Roads, Southwest Virginia, all are taking a position where next session, we're going to continue educating, which is very good for us with the 5-year plan coming on board, because it gives us more solid ground on what we're asking for when we need the additional money. So we're very excited about that, taking up this session, education piece. I think that's all I have right now for legislative.
The Clear Lanes, does that require any local action?
It will.
Okay.
It will. So we didn't contact local yet because we wanted to see how with the mechanisms, who would collect what. We have a call in or email to Daniel Wagner of the city of Richmond, because that's where we did our pilot program at. But it will be a coordination with the localities, and hopefully we can get him right for the vote on it now, that when you guys do adopt this, the monies will go to transit.
I think I'm right at first.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a local, there's gonna have to be local coordination. But yeah, there's gonna have to be a local coordination to it. So we haven't got to that part yet, but as we do, we'll make sure we contact our boards that represent those localities to kind of loop them in those conversations.
Okay, no, that's good to know. The all board decision.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
A local or council, not just who's on GRTC.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and the individual jurisdiction, most likely we're trying to tie into like their already enforcement system. For example, like with the city, so you'd have to work through that for you guys.
That's what I have right now for legislative. I think we're good.
Any questions?
That one on merit. So what percentage of state funding is merit? That for.
We received roughly $21 million for operating for merit. Yeah, it's our state.
I think historically, your state support for any transit agency in Virginia relies heavily on merit or that program. That's how you usually get the state funding.
Dropped what, a couple of million?
And that was because of that
That
formula impact, which I mean, it was kind of maybe an anomaly based on everyone kind of coming out of COVID, but they wanted to revisit, and they revisited every, I think, 3 years anyway.
Next on the agenda are project updates.
Updates, I guess, some high level projects.
Well, I'm very happy to report that our paving project is moving right along. As of today, we have completed everything in the bus yard except the paratransit lot, which will actually be after this, after our employee parking lot is done. Right now, we are anticipating work at this location to be completed on or about August 29th. And as of right now, we plan to begin work at the downtown transfer station on August 31st. We have begun internal coordination on that. I have reached out to the City of Richmond's parking department to make sure that we can use the on-street transfers that we've used in the past. And that work is expected to last until about September 11th, at which point we should be completely done with our paving project.
Completed at downtown when?
On or about September 11th.
The exact date of our.
And the stuff here, including paratransit, completing August 29th.
I'm a bit sure about, yes. I'm also very happy to report that we successfully submitted smart scale applications for the Western Extension BRT construction for Willow Lawn Park and Ride and Transfer Center, the Chamberlain Avenue to 8th Street segment of the North-South BRT, a combination of the 8th Street to Southside Plaza and Southside Plaza to Stonebridge section of the North-South BRT. And we are currently coordinating with VDOT on questions and updates. I believe the time frame for notification is sometime early next year. We should learn if we've been successful in getting funding. For the North-South, in addition to the smart scale, which has been one of our primary focuses for most of this year, we have also been undergoing the surveys. We've been focusing on the surveys for the station areas so that we can go ahead and advance our NEPA. I just got word this week that the surveys for the station areas have been completed, and we're currently looking at a meeting the week of August 24th to go over all of that information with Kinley Warren, who's our primary consultant on the project. For the Western Extension, traffic analysis, VDOT has required additional traffic analysis, which I think I've mentioned to you all before. And that traffic analysis was also considered as part of the smart scale application for the Western Extension. We are currently working with STB, who is our engineering consultant on that project, as well as Kimley Horn, to develop to develop a memorandum of agreement with VDOT to take a look at additional future traffic analysis. And I'll post it on that.
Is that a showstopper for the smart scale application?
That is an excellent question. VDOT has strong reservations about the traffic counts and the overall traffic analysis and future projections for traffic along Broad Street. We don't know yet if that will prevent us from moving forward or not, but we'll know more as we work with VDOT.
Understanding was the state, because it's a transit project, your PT, it's their vote, not for moving it forward.
That's one thing.
Is that attached to it?
Park around that, right?
No,
They had some issue.
It's the exact same thing. Correct.
Overrode them.
I can't remember.
Yeah, both of those two projects we.
I was trying to. Stuff on.
As of July 1st, we received merit funding for a number of projects, both for the facility and for other projects. Some of the new projects that are an in-depth assessment of space in this facility. We're looking at up to 30% for dedicated lanes along 14th Street to complement our existing BRT. We're looking at a safety study for our median stations and stops in downtown Richmond.
Shift this way.
And then we also have some funding for initial conceptual design for East Bell Boulevard. We're going to be using that to look at some temporary paving to tide us over until we are ready to build.
Probably should be not staying up to date on it. The Parham property. What's the latest on that? Is that in that? Is that now? Right. Okay. But I knew that we sort of said that's not the ideal place for the activities that would happen there.
I think the concern is not enough parking
Get that out of the way.
elsewhere.
Actually, we gotta push it straight first.
For what I'm gonna have to do, space, just the flow and all that. I just wasn't sure if it evolved to a better answer yet.
Yeah, I mean, right now, that's
Yeah, that's fine.
I have to get off the pulse there. And then we have the 19 will continue west, so I mean, something's gonna need to be there for people who are off the pulse that want to continue.
That's one.
It was more for that.
Yes, not necessarily.
I thought it was gonna look like Willow Lawn as far as the end of
We
the,
don't,
and
we
so
don't want.
the parking
want.
wasn't.
Trash, huh?
But I don't know if it's trash. Someone around here might want
I
it.
think where we are is we had
So,
looking at with what would be kind of if we use our Parham parking side as the parking need, that becomes,
it's very heavy.
that would,
Oh, is there something else there?
come up here with
we did get $5 million
come up here with
that particular,
dollar.
at that time, and like I thought it, we applied for
Oh, hello.
construction money
Okay.
for it. Did get a Willow on site, Times works out better.
Yeah, I mean, we still need parking.
I'll try to find out. I don't know if anybody wants it, but we don't need it.
Five or six.
So that's more of a hub than even where the terminate. That we're still working on. We've set up at the county working on that. Predates me.
I was gonna
The design, I'm not
like
sure
probably this
for, but the design for the
This
salon
cabinet
is,
right here,
or
just
if you're at the Will on Light facing north, right? There's an old attorney's office right there, so you'll, it's a shades of light, utilizing that. As well. And there's
And I was just kind of.
America, so our large, that would be the adjacent, park.
Those need to be acquired.
Yes. We're in conversations with the property.
Can you do some of your desk for sure? Yeah.
It's about the money.
Funding for it.
I go there, copier, I think. I'm not really sure.
Flat. But add two more to that. So the north-south DOT project did close.
Okay.
And we are finalizing the documents to get those. It's a small area of Gaines, so there's a brook.
Yeah, just push it back, and if the bond wants it.
Future north-south line, which also could includes like our facility and somewhere
This,
outside Full Street connection.
this needs to go against.
We'll bring that forward for briefing. And our permanent transfer station already closes in 16 days. So looking forward to seeing what proposals we get back.
And you still check that.
Back.
It's going to be the same thing.
Let me get out your way.
Closes in 12 days.
Swings around.
16 days, the 28th.
8th of August.
Is there federal funding?
And was, no, we did not get the bill grant.
Right back.
We did hear back.
All right,
Didn't hear back.
that works.
And we didn't get it yet, awarded.
Are planning to, bus and bus. Funding for that one was just announced within the last couple of weeks, so we are.
For DTS.
For sure, yeah.
How big? How much can you give?
Gonna apply for back up.
Well,
25.
I need some help.
Trying to do.
I was trying to put it back under there, so. she-
Correct.
That's just-
Discretionary, yeah.
That's competitive too.
That's a good fit.
That's
Yeah, there you go.
what we actually had done for this lot over here. That was what I think.
All right, I think that's it for now.
All right.
I've ordered the desk.
When Joy, send me a check back or send something back.
Work with you guys. Do we have to go through board,
That's-
support for that? If we're doing a 39 application loan grant to get letters of support,
And a desk,
locality.
or maybe a desk there,
You wanted to file suppression.
so, but that's all I have. I do know they want this taken off, but I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all do.
I said, control back and read it.
For the permanent transfer station, you had like pre-bid meetings on site with people.
That's correct.
And you had a lot of interest.
Yeah,
I
we,
remember you had a lot of interest and then you had this pre-bid sort of meeting. But there's really been no official anything until the RFP.
so we had an RFI.
RFI.
Yes, so that happened first and that closed in the spring. And then the process was to shortlist. And so we invited forward 4. And so those were invited for the RFP and that's what closes on the 28th. Second, two-step process.
I have trouble remembering all that.
And then we're working, I think we're close and we'll take to the board. Remember the MOU you guys reviewed for the site with EDA still being worked through.
Anything else?
That's a no.
No, yeah, really. So full board agenda review?
So the full board agenda is just like the agenda today. Only thing we have on there would be the 3 items for the consent agenda and then a development update, financial update, and that's it.
Okay,
A quick meeting.
it's good. Save our energy for September.
Yes.
Is there any new business? No?
Right. No, you guys have
It
it.
says closed session.
As needed.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Okay.
just keep that on there in case it's needed, but we're good.
So we are adjourned.